welcome. This is a healing video that will work on depression. Now, if you've never seen a healing video before, the way this works is in the third dimension, I can touch you. You can't touch me. You could try and touch me if you were fast enough, because we both have a physical body. We're both physical creatures. We're both humans. And then in the 4th to 12th dimension mainly, we are not a physical body. We exist, but in an energy body, and we exist there at the exact same time and hopefully space, unless you've had some major energetic targeting, as our physical body. It's all basically glued together. So in this video, I will be talking about my own energetic experiences with depression. I have suffered depression before, and fortunately I don't suffer really any of it anymore. It is something that you can make a full recovery from. I will talk about chemical imbalances, how negative entities and negative energy cause chemical imbalances. Then I'll talk about ways to better fight depression, symptoms of depression, and a few other things. So we're going to start with the sciencey stuff. Okay, I'll try not to bore you. We'll take about a minute, because this will explain what the healing video is doing, along with a few other things which I'll go over as we go through. So the sciencey stuff, I have copied this and basically shortened it, and I'd say improved upon it, but no, I changed some words here and there, from 2 different articles which are in the description. Hopefully this will not take more than 2 minutes. So, first of all, main reason we're feeling depression, we have an emotional body, but our physical body, the way we really feel depression in the 3rd dimension, is through our brain. We're not feeling it through our legs. If your leg gets impaled, it will hurt, but your first reaction won't be incredible depression. So, in our brain, we have something called neurotransmitters. Now, you don't need to remember this, right? But I'm saying this because it's useful. Neurotransmitters are chemical messengers in the brain. The nerve cells of the brain use neurotransmitters to communicate with each other. The messages they send are believed by scientists to play a role in mood regulation. Now, serotonin, and you may have heard of it, is a natural. I'm already misreading. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter produced when you feel satisfaction or importance. Now, this is a very important one, because negative energies will often target this, and then no matter how productive you are, you don't feel like anything matters. You can get like 10 hours of work done in 4 hours, right? You're a maniac, and then you don't feel anything. You finish the day and you feel like, oh, that was pointless, because your serotonin energy and chemicals are being prevented from being flooded through your brain and then into your body like they should be. And it's very annoying. It also helps regulate your sleep, appetite, and mood. As this video goes through, what I've seen, and this goes for the other chemicals I'm going to list, is people's serotonin, it should really vary on a healthy level, depending on what they're doing, between 0 and 10. Now, when negative entities target you, and I've seen this on quite a few people that I've looked at the past week, they will take it into the minuses, and it goes down to, you can number it however you want, but let's just say minus 10. And a lot of people's serotonin is about minus 8 if they're targeted. If they're just in a negative energy area, it might be like minus 4, but if they're targeted, it's usually minus 8 to minus 10. So they pretty much have no serotonin. And they can take serotonin supplements, and they will work temporarily until either negative entities will curse the brand of serotonin or the particular pill, and then you can change that by getting another type, which hopefully is less easily cursed. Or, if you're doing that, they will put negative energy blockages in your brain, preventing the serotonin from having an effect on you regardless, and you'll have to take more and more, which is a major reason why people build up tolerances to potentially very strong prescription medication. Many antidepressant medications are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRI, that help boost the level of serotonin. Another substance that might play a role in mood is dopamine. Dopamine creates positive feelings associated with reward or reinforcement that motivate us to continue with a task or activity. This isn't similar to serotonin. You may have heard of the pretty much mainstream trend now with, say, performance coaches, of having a dopamine detox. Now, I don't believe you need to have a dopamine detox, because they're like, go and sit in nature for 3 days, and don't look at your phone, and don't look at your computer, and don't do anything which could stimulate dopamine, right? Because their idea is that your people are basically consuming too much internet content and they're hitting their dopamine receptors too fast. Now, as somebody who's had fried dopamine receptors since I was a child, and I've never done dopamine detox, but I had a very good friend who did, and he said he went like a week and nothing changed with him. If you have depression, if you have your dopamine receptors blocked, you can go on a dopamine detox for 2 years, and it might go from a -9 to a -4, but that's still terrible. If you do it for 2 years in nature, you might go from a -8 to a to a 3 or 4, which is still not very good. It's not the natural, that'll be your cap, right? You'll be able to go from -6 to 4, which is still pretty bad. Dopamine is believed to play an important role in a variety of conditions affecting the brain, including Parkinson's and schizophrenia. There is also evidence that reduced dopamine levels can contribute to depression. Reduced dopamine levels can contribute to depression in some people when other treatments have failed. Medications that affect dopamine symptoms are often and can be helpful for some people with depression. Now, the reason why they'd say some people, depending on both your physical and your energetic makeup, different pills will work better for your build and your current state. But again, the pills can get targeted and then you have to increase the dosage. That's what usually happens. Or your physical body or the entities, it's usually the entities, build a negative energy inside of your body, build up a resistance to it, and then it's no longer helping. A main problem with antidepressants and most medication is, let's say you're depressed and you take a really strong dopamine antidepressant and serotonin antidepressant, then you may potentially feel better, depending on your targeting. You may feel better, but what that's done is using this drug, it has stopped the entities from getting to your dopamine and serotonin receptors, but usually they will then take all that energy and direct it somewhere else. So yes, you're not having really negative emotional feelings all the time, but you suddenly gain a lot of weight because they've gone from targeting your brain to targeting your thyroid and targeting your intestinal tract, and they have just incredibly weakened it. And even if you stop taking antidepressants after the antidepressants, not depressants, for let's say 3 months, you stop taking them. After you've taken them for say 6 months, your thyroid and your intestinal tract won't just bounce back. They're not just going to be healthy. They will still be ruined. They're not going to undo what they've done just because you've stopped taking the pills. And often, and I experienced this, I had really bad vertigo when I was, I'm going to say 15 to 18. The main thing that fixed my vertigo was working out, but a doctor when I was 16 gave me a pill for vertigo. And I remember, if you've not had vertigo, you'll basically have your center of balance being messed with, and you will have essentially physical hallucinations where you'll be sitting, I remember sitting in class, and it happened a lot when I was trying to go to sleep as well, and I would feel just like my physical body was in waves. It feels incredibly realistic. The other main problem with vertigo is it gives you really bad nausea. So you feel like you need to throw up all the time, but you don't actually throw up. At least I did not. But some people with really bad vertigo do throw up quite a lot. And I went to the doctor and I told him this, and he said, "Oh, that's not good. Here is a pill for vertigo." And I took the pill, and for about a week and a half, I had this like eerie calm, eerie silence. I could feel there was a wall there, and it was, nice, but it felt artificial, and I intuitively could feel, no, this is not going to last long. And then I'm sitting there, and a week and a half later, I'm sitting in English class, and all of a sudden, I just feel the entities have gotten stronger. They've built themselves up, and they beat the pill. And then it was just, another thing it would do, I would get the feeling of like shaking, like I was sitting somewhere in an earthquake. It often happened in English class, because English class had terrible energy. And I'd be sitting there, and I would look around and think, all right, are we having an earthquake? No one else is reacting. It's just me who is experiencing an earthquake. And it's one of the strongest earthquakes I've ever had from vertigo. And then from then on, it was about 8 times stronger than it was up to that point. So be very careful with prescription medication. It is really, from an energetic perspective, not a doctor perspective. I am not a doctor. You see, I was rejected from getting a medical license. They said I was too extreme for sticking 3 left arms on a woman. I thought she looked much better with 3 left arms, but they disagreed. So my doctorate was rejected. I was not accepted into my doctorate program. Anyway, I'm not a doctor. This is an energy. I'm not at all. This is an energetic perspective. And if your doctor says something different, well, you know, you have to think, all right, who do I trust? The energy worker or the doctor? That's up to you. That's up to you. But, I mean, if you're watching this and you've had depression, you've probably been to see a doctor before you've come across this video. Anyway, now, norepinephrine. Now, this is something I've never heard of, but then when I was looking at the energy chemicals and started energetically working on it, I went, oh, wow, this is a really, really major thing. Once I read what they are, I'm like, okay, dopamine, the person is referring to this chemical in the brain, I can then work on it and I understand what's going on. So norepinephrine is both a neurotransmitter and a hormone. It plays a role in the fight or flight response, meaning if this gets stuck, you are either in a state of anxiety or a state of fear, along with adrenaline. It helps send messages from one nerve cell to the next. Depression occurs when there is too little norepinephrine in certain brain circuits. Alternatively, mania results when too much neurotransmitter is in the brain. I reread this as I was preparing for this and went, oh dear, I just cranked mine up to 10, but then I checked and my energy, it was sensible, and it did not like flood me with it. It gave me a healthy amount. That's what the goal was, to give you a healthy amount and clear blockages and get your brain to a good baseline, not to just make you, you know, super duper happy. This is not an antidepressant video, this is a clear your brain video. So I'm glad I did not put myself in a state of mania. Oxytocin. Oxytocin is a hormone produced, there's only two left, is a hormone produced by the hypothalamus and released by the pituitary gland that produces feelings of love and connection, also known as the cuddle hormone. The brain may produce oxytocin during intimacy or maternal behaviors such as childbirth or breastfeeding. Now, as a man, and men do not childbirth or breastfeed, that's a problem, right? When you get strong enough, so I've written this out. I should have put a note there. When you get strong enough, you can create oxytocin on your own and produce it. That way you don't have to go and cuddle anyone, right? Because that's about the only way. We're not going to breastfeed, we're not going to have children. So you have to go and cuddle people to get this important chemical. So this video will... by the way, if you're watching this and you're like, I want more of this one, just say, I want more oxytocin. I'm not going to go cuddle people. What are you, crazy? You're going to get, you know, negative energy on me. So you can do that. You can... ask for certain chemicals to strengthen or weaken, if you so choose. Endorphins. Endorphins are opioid peptides, which is a doctory word, produced by the hypothalamus and pituitary glands that operate as neurotransmitters. They trigger positive feelings when you do something you enjoy. Laughing or exercising. They also stimulate pain relief, which is the same reaction that occurs when taking prescription opioids. The euphoric feeling endorphins produce helps mask pain. Now, this is great. The problem is, this helps with physical pain. It doesn't help if you've got like a major curse that's just come up on your chest or your bottom. Releasing endorphins into the air, you can release the energy of endorphins. It's not going to help the pain that much. You're better off just clearing it and dealing with the pain that is manifesting in your nervous system, but it's physically there. But releasing physical endorphins to it doesn't help the pain that much. But, you know, if you've stubbed your toe, crank up the endorphins. Get them out of there. And that is the sciencey stuff. Took 2 minutes. Alright? You may have the wrong sense of time, but that was definitely 2 minutes. So, if you do have depression, a few things you can do right now. Working out helps a lot. Start working out. YouTube now has everything, so you can go and just YouTube it. Omar Yusuf, he's a really good channel. When I used to need workout videos. Elliot Hulse of Strength Camp, his channel is called Strength Camp. He is a really, really good fitness channel. And the Hodge twins are pretty good too if you're somebody with ADHD and you get distracted. The Hodge twins are comedians who are also giant, muscly bodybuilders. So those 3 channels, alright. I'll write them in the description. I recommend those. Now, another major thing that helps that you can do right now is pretend to be happy, right? You may be miserable. When you're depressed, they block up your memories and you can't even remember what the feeling of happiness is like. That's completely normal. That happens to most people with depression. What you're going to do is, alright, well, I can at least pretend to be happy, right? I've seen movies. These characters, they look happy. Now, they are not really happy. These are actors in a movie. And just like that, you shall be an actor in the stage of life. You will pretend to be happiness and no one else will be able to tell the difference. unless they really feel into your energy, which is very unlikely. So you will put on a big smile, right? You go, and you walk around, and you'll be happy. And you'll do that, and you'll keep doing it, and eventually, your body will think, oh, are we actually happy? And you'll start to feel happiness. That can help, right? Now, I'll talk about my own experience with depression. Growing up, I have some really, really vivid memories from when I was 3. And I remember my family and I going to take a family portrait. And when I was 3, I kind of like now, my brain was completely quiet. It was just me in my mind. And even then, I remember feeling on edge because my parents could be rather violent. Very violent. And they were a bit crazy. They were rather unhinged some of the time. So I remember feeling quite on edge. What I found interesting when I was, let's say, going over my earliest memories is it wasn't really until I'd say 13 when my mind actually became loud, as in it wasn't just me making thoughts. Now, just because you don't have something else where you're sitting there and you're just getting thoughts and voices in your head, which they'll make you believe is yours and they'll make it sound like your internal monologue when it's not, they will still try and lead your train of thoughts. So when I was 16, we're jumping to 16, alright? When I was 16, I remember I had what I now know to be an anxiety disorder. And what happened is, as you get older and your energy field wears down, you begin to, really wears into your physical body, which does just happen with overall being on this planet. Your mental state and your energetic state, unfortunately, affect your physical state. But no one tells you this. Nobody tells you, what's going on there. And this can get much more extreme as you get older. Now, the problem is you can have a lot of repressed emotions. You could have had a really bad childhood, right? You could have, every night you go to sleep and there's ghosts everywhere and they're menacing and you go, all right, I'm just going to put this to the back of my mind and not think about this other than when I'm going to sleep. And that won't affect your physical body, right? You can be, the best athlete, and then suddenly, this energy, all these repressed emotions, they start physically manifesting in your body. And for me, what happened was, I thought my bladder had just given up. I used to have a lot of physical health problems, a lot of random physical pain, as a lot of targeted people do. And it started being that if I drank something and there was 2 milliliters of water in my bladder would send me this signal like, oh man, you have to pee. You just drank 20 liters of water and you've not peed in 4 days. So I would go to the toilet and I'd pee and I'd go, wow, that took 3 seconds. Why did I feel like I was going to explode? That is an anxiety disorder manifesting in the physical body. Now, as negative entities will try and lead your thoughts, and you'll get this. You're like, well, what do I have to be depressed about? And the answer is, well, there's doesn't have to be something major. You don't have to be starving all the time. You can starve sometimes, but you don't have to be starving all the time to be depressed. You don't have to have a major reason. And the way that negative energy really, really led my thoughts was that I had my subconscious turn on me. That's what I was getting. I was getting that after years of a shitty childhood, my subconscious had given up. And I was, at 16, I'm going, no subconscious, do not give up. We still have, we've got another year of school after this, and then we're done, alright? If you can just tough it out for this time, I'm having to negotiate with my own subconscious, which I now know was not my subconscious, we'll get through this. Now, before I got pretty heavy depression symptoms, what I started getting was chronic fatigue. I would go to sleep, and I would sleep for 10 hours, and I would wake up, and I would feel like I'd not slept at all. So then I would sleep some more. And after sleeping 12 hours or 14 hours, I would wake up and I'd feel even worse. Now, what that is it is when you sleep, your energetic resistance goes right down. So negative entities want you to sleep a lot so they can more easily steal your energy, especially in the house I was living in. And being around my parents' energy, there was a lot of energy harvesting going on. So you're sleeping, but you're not you basically, let's say you replenish 7 energy an hour, but you're having 9 energy taken from you. Well, you're very quickly going to be running on fumes because it doesn't matter how much you try and replenish. So you end up with chronic fatigue. And a very, very major symptom I remember getting is it felt like somebody took this giant square hammer and just put it straight on my head. and never took it off. There was just a hammer sitting on my head, and not knowing about energy clearing, I thought, why is there a hammer on my head? How do I get this off? Is there some drug that I have to take that will, because, this is what you think growing up in the mainstream world is, all right, well, which drug do I take to take this hammer off? That was a very, very major symptom I remember having. Then, when I was 17, I was having the hammer, I was having chronic fatigue, the random physical pain, all that had been there my whole life. So I thought, no, come on, this is nothing new. Let's get through this. And I thought, wait, am I depressed? Because I don't actually feel... The only emotion I could feel was anger and sadness. I hadn't felt happiness in a while. Probably since 15, maybe? And that was like low happiness. Because as your positive emotions wear away from life, then you begin to go from feeling happiness, 0 to 10, to happiness 0 to 4, happiness 0 to 2, and 2 is about as high as you can get. And that goes for all positive emotions, but your negative emotions, no, those you'll go from, you don't have any problem there. They don't ever go on the minuses. You can still 0 to 10 them, no problem. And often you'll just wake up and you're like, why do I feel angry? What happened when I was asleep? Who did something to me? Where's this anger come from? And it's this artificial, often demonic anger, which has been put inside of you. It's very interesting how, because negative entities, right, they'll never be like, it's us, unless you really know, then they'll may out themselves. But, to someone who is just going through life, they're not going to say, hey, we gotcha. That's not going to happen. I remember when I was 16, in Australia, you could learn to drive. And unfortunately, you had to have 100 hours of driving in a logbook. And my mum, she was someone who followed the rules when it didn't benefit me. So she wouldn't let me just fabricate hours, which would have been rather easy. But I've not done that. I've not broken any laws, unfortunately. So what she would do is she'd drive to the school in the afternoon to pick me up. So because where we lived, you needed a driver's license. It was the public transport was terrible. You were expected to drive. And I'd get in the car and I would drive 2 minutes and I would just feel insanely tired and I'd like I'm in a crash tired, and I thought, okay, this is, and then they guide my thoughts. It wouldn't be like another voice, it would be like my train of thoughts leading this way, and I would follow it and engage with it. And it would be like, I'm really tired because my subconscious knows I have to be alert and aware at school and get through it. But when I'm not at school, it doesn't matter. And there we go, camera stopped recording for the first time so far. That was pretty good. That was 25 minutes. Good. So, yeah, I'd hop in and I'd drive and then I'd do... And what this was is my mum's energy would have been charging up. And she's like, all right, when he gets in the car in 5 hours, we're just going to take all his energy and we're going to keep him trapped. So, I'd drive 2 minutes and after pull, I'd be like, no, you drive because I am not in a good state to drive. So there was a lot of energy harvesting going on. And pretty much the more energy you lose, the lower your energetic resistance gets, the more easily they can target your emotional body and the more easily they can block things up. Also, if in terms of any kind of rapid form of depression, because depression is not really rapid, it's not like one day you're great and then the next day, let's just say your mum dies and you loved your mum, right? She was a great mum. Then you're like, oh no, and you fall into a major depression. That's not what happens. You wake up the next day and if you have a healthy range of emotions, your mum will be dead, you will be very sad about it, and then you will grieve, you will cry, you will get the emotional energy out, and then you will move on with your life, and that will be a sore spot, but it will not be something that's constantly coming up in your head, especially when there's no reason for it to, there's nothing associated with it coming up. That is how sadness should work. Depression, it's more like each day your emotional your emotional state, your energetic state, and your physical body just get heavier and worse, and no one has to have died. Now, if your mum does die, they will certainly use that as ammunition, but you will find out about her death, and you'll feel numb, but you won't cry. They will deliberately block up your emotions and repress that energy, so it just cycles through you and cycles through you and cycles through you, and weaponize it against you. And her death for you will feel in your emotional state worse 3 years later than it will have at the actual death, which is not how this should work, because they've just been regurgitating this energy and it's just been getting worse and worse the entire time, leading to a worsened state in your mind and physical body. Now, you may no longer be thinking about it, but you will certainly be in a worse state because they have weaponized that energy against you. And then, unfortunately, the worse you get, the more easy it is for negative entities to target you, and the more they will. I remember in particular, honestly, being surrounded by ghosts and other things growing up, I mean, it was scary when I was a child, but I really got over it when I was a teenager. I was like, alright, they're just there. They would do things which would inflict a layer of fear energy. I remember we went on holiday. I'll rephrase that. I was dragged on holiday with my crazy family when I was 16 to Adelaide, which is a major town in Australia. We stayed at a rather cursed, what do you even call it, a hotel? It was like a block of flats. It was a hotel. It was not very good. Very, very cursed. And because I evidently had a kick me sign on me, a giant... negative entities can feel if somebody who's an easy target and generates a good amount of energy shows up in the area. So the first night, I went to sleep and I went, oh good, at least I'm away from my cursed house. Look, there's no ghosts around. This is great. And then I woke up at about 3 a.m. This was New Year's Day. And there was a ghost that looked like a dead 15-year-old girl. Rather small, you know, ghosty, decaying flesh, decaying arms, old, tattered, like, dress. And I thought, oh, come on, I'm on holiday. I've come all the way, flown all the way here, and straight away a ghost. So yeah, moving, unless you move to a really, really clear energy area, it's not, if your house was super cursed, moving house will help. I mean, I went from having a lot of things to just one. So it was an improvement. I was going somewhere with this. Crystal, remind me where I was going with this. Oh, I was just saying, that's right. I got used to seeing entities. So when we were at Adelaide, I went to Adelaide Zoo. And I bought this poster and it had a panther, a lion and a tiger, 3 in a row. And I thought, okay. And then when we went home, I put it on my wardrobe and I thought, alright, well, there'll be ghosts around me, but I'll just look at this and it won't be an issue. And then what would happen is I turned the light off and the first night, they evidently cursed the poster. There were 3... no one was recording again. There were 3 voodoo-like ghost entity heads on there, and I went, oh, come on, it's cursed. And then I turned the light on, and I went, no, this has got to be my mind playing tricks on me. I now can see the energy. No, they'd cursed my poster. And when it was light and on, the energy wasn't coming through, but when it was off, it would come out. So if they chosen to, I could have seen them in the light as well, but that would require much more energy. But they would manifest themselves there, not physically, and people without energetic sight would just feel it was a cursed painting and probably see static around it. Not painting, poster. But anyway, even then, I left the poster up. But I got used to it. And then after, I'd say 2 months, I was just really used to them being around. I'd be sitting in the bed and I'd be having vertigo. And sometimes I wouldn't have vertigo, and then something would shake my bed. And then they'd physically manifest enough to shake the bed, and then I would trigger my vertigo, which they had energetically set up. See, they set these things up like dominoes, and everything ricochets into each other. It's all by design. And after a while, I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're all around. You're trying to be scary, but you can't hurt me, right? You're just kind of there. So, you know, I stopped worrying about them. And then, as I talked about in the interview with Steve, I was laying in bed, and a thought form of a World War One type character. I say this as a character because a child created this thought form quite a long time ago, and created a character wearing full black leather with a big black gas mask on, who then tried to who I then woke up and went, oh, it's a ghost, and I went to go back to sleep, and then my leg kicked on its own, which it had never done before in my entire life, and I went, oh, well, that's not good. It didn't do a very good kick though, so he then put his hand on my leg and started trying to pull me out of my bed. And he left these black sooty marks on my leg. I was in Australia, so I was wearing shorts, so you know, touch me straight on the skin. And I had a touch that next to me, and I touched it about 20 times. It would go 1, 2, 3 and get brighter and then turn off on the 4th one. And the light made it that he wasn't strong enough to stay physically manifested with the light on. And then I went, oh dear, these things can touch me, and I'm pretty sure that that guy was going to try and kill me. So then I had to actually worry about physical attacks. My go-to before I got strong enough to, or even knew that you could energetically combat them, was just if I woke up and there was something physically there and I felt I was in danger, like I would wake up and I would be alert, and I should not be alert when I've just been sleeping and it's 2 a.m. I would immediately get up and physically attack them. And that would work. And then I would make my way to the light switch across my room. I would often, depending on my mood, I'd touch the touch lamp, and then sometimes they'd still be somewhat manifested, or they'd stay fully manifested, and then I'd just try and beat them up, and then turn the light on in my room, and then if they were still there, I'd still try and get them. And now, does physically hitting them work? Somewhat. It disrupts their energy, and it can cause problems for them, it can weaken them. But it's more so, if they're trying to feed off somebody, and he gets up and starts trying to hit them, they go, alright, this guy is not a good target for me, he's going to make it really hard with his conscious mind to feed off him. So, that does help. Physically trying to fight them, it certainly helps. That did not help my state of mind, because then every night I went to sleep, I was worried. I thought, alright, I hope I don't, get physically attacked by one tonight. And the energy of the area, all these things add up. So, first of all, your country's energy has a major effect on you. Then the energy of your state or province has a major effect on you. Then your town or city has a pretty big effect on you. Then your local town can have a pretty big effect on you. Then your house has a very major effect on you. Then the people in the house have a humongous effect on your energy. Every single one of those for me was bad. Yeah, every single one. So, that all certainly added up. I'm just checking the energy of the healing video. It's working very well. I just cleared some blockages in my throat, and now I can feel these brain chemicals entering into my body through my nervous system, which is good. That's what they're supposed to do. And I was making energy for this video, and I went, oh yeah, no, these chemicals, they're supposed to enter the rest of your body, right? They shouldn't just be brain, because you'll have a great feeling brain, and the rest of your body will be heavy. I'll talk now about, say, suicidal thoughts and suicidal energy. I'll just check the chat first if there's any interesting questions. Oh, this guy's just monologuing to himself. Can ghosts use Wi-Fi and EMFs to become stronger? Susan asks. Or does that stuff just make you weaker? Ghosts cannot eat EMF energy, but they can certainly manipulate it. They can manipulate your Wi-Fi router, they can manipulate your TV, and they can curse your TV and then make the EMFs it emits worse. But I've never seen a ghost consume EMF energy in order to become stronger. Steve says he feels a pain in his left kidney watching this. You're welcome, Steve. Main reason you may feel pain throughout your body can be the various chemicals entering there, or it can be that your brain is connected with the rest of your body energetically. So if you've got a big blockage here, it may be in your liver, or they may have blockages in your liver which are affecting your brain. This video is also clearing negative energy and overall stagnant energy in your brain, getting that going. I'll talk about this in order. So, after a while, I started getting suicidal thoughts, which I now know are not mine. And even at the time, I knew they weren't mine. I was like, subconscious, can you stop giving me suicidal thoughts? We have 1 year left of school, right? We're going to get through this, and then things may potentially improve. They may. If you want to kill yourself afterwards, well, at least we've given it a go, all right? Come on. So I started getting suicidal thoughts. Not just that, but negative entities will give you suicidal images. And often, especially as you get more targeted, you'll feel them. So a negative entity will be in your body, and it will connect itself to your nervous system, and then it will give you an image of, this is the most extreme one I ever got, but it was me hanging from a ceiling fan, and I could feel the rope around my neck, and I wasn't even thinking anything suicidal. That was the most suicidal vision. I think I had 2 of those throughout the whole time, but I get these suicidal thoughts, and I was like, I should just kill myself, and then I'll get out of here, and things will be better. And I thought, hang on, no, this is probably not the best idea. Suicide energy, by the way, unfortunately for the other people around me, suicide energy can also be contagious. It looks like black crisscross marks. A funny story, a friend's son went to a girl, she had terrible energy, but he wasn't going to listen to me, a girl who had terrible energy's place, and her roommate had just slit her wrist, which I never understood, because I thought, no, that's just painful. Like, if I'm going to kill myself, I'll just do it. I'm not going to I hate pain. I'm not doing that. You're crazy. But she just stood her wrist in the bathroom, and he came in, and that suicide energy identified him as a targeted individual. And often this energy can just sit there and ruminate, and then it'll go, targeted guy. Boom, into him, and he started feeling suicidal. And he said to her, your roommate gave me suicide energy. I feel awful. He's Scottish. I feel awful. He sounds just like Fat Bastard. Everybody sounds like Fat Bastard in Scotland. But what's crazy is after you're there for a while, that it sounds normal to you. You stop hearing them like that. They sound like regular people. And to them, they all sound like that. But no, once you take a break, no, you hear what they really sound like. Anyway, it's like, your roommate. She gave me suicide energy. I cannot believe it. I'm trying to do a Scottish accent more, so using a bunch of energy work and remembering my notes. And then she got very offended and told him that he was being very, very rude, and that you should not accuse her friend of giving him suicide energy, because that's not how it works. And then she broke up with him shortly later, and he was devastated by it, absolutely devastated. But it was for the best. So, what I ended up doing when I had suicide energy is I made a pros and cons list. I went, alright, pros. I have a potentially, if I work at it, because up until that point, I'd always been really good at sports or anything I really set my mind to. I always became the best at. I had really good potential and talent. But I had terrible physical health from about 14 onwards? Yeah, about 14 onwards. That's a story for another time. I know why that happened now. But I had really bad health, so I'm like, alright, if I can just get my health fixed, boom, I'll succeed at whatever I do. And then I'm chosen to be an energy worker, and I have succeeded at it. Not that I got much of a choice, I was kind of elbowed into it. But here I am. So I thought I had a potential good future. Now, a con, well, I was having lots of physical pain and lots of mental pain. That was a pretty major con. Now, a pro was that I could potentially kill all these ghosts around me. That was a pretty big potential. I wanted revenge. I wanted to be able to protect myself and my surroundings. Now, a con was that stop recording again. We're up to how long have we been going? We had much better luck last time. I think it's the energy of this depression video is certainly a lot heavier than the energy for dragons and alcohol. Oh, yes. So, con, I was getting beat up by ghosts all the time. Now, a very major pro was that I didn't know where I would go when I died, which was a pretty big deal because I try to go to sleep and I'm surrounded by ghosts all the time. I'm out in public, I'm seeing ghosts. I didn't want to get stuck as a ghost, right? I didn't want to be here or you stuck on Earth or in purgatory. I'm like, oh, what did you do? And you go, 500 years I was really depressed as a 17-year-old, so I killed myself. And it's like, you should have just waited. You'd be out of here way, a long time ago if you didn't do that. I'm like, yeah, I know. So that was a big reason. I didn't want to get stuck. Knowing what I have in plans otherwise, I would have probably been dragged off to a tour of purgatory, hell, Mantis hell, a few other areas. And then I'd have been reincarnated and I'd probably be 2 years old right now and getting beat up in some other bad situation. So I'm rather glad I did not kill myself, and I would recommend never to kill yourself. Because it's different it's very different if you're suicidal and you're 17, right? If you're like 55 and you're overweight and you have no skill set, or you had a good skill set, but you're like crippled in a way that you can't do it, then you're logically thinking, all right, my life is actually not worth living. And those suicidal thoughts, while you're definitely being led there by negative energy, it makes sense. When you're 17, it's just bombarding your head. It really, even logically, I'm like, no, this doesn't make sense, right? Let's just wait this out. Also, from an energetic perspective, you are much, much better off being depressed. Be depressed for 8 years, right? It sucks, it does. But you build up your energetic strength, and then when you die, you can leave here. And if you're training for 8 years, you're not going to be depressed after 2.5 if you're really, really depressed. You won't be, right? As long as you do the right things, you exercise, you build up your own energy, you keep clearing, you'll get through it. But don't kill yourself, because guess what? You'll be coming back, and you will most likely come back in a potentially worse situation than you're in, because all the suicide and depression energy on you, well, it's still there. And while most of it will stay to you in your physical body when you die, some of it won't. And especially because this will be the next life after, you're going to be a depressed child, and you'll have no idea why. At least you may have no idea why you're depressed now either. But I'm telling you why. So you're much better off in this lifetime, where you've stumbled upon this information, whether through luck or, actively searching for it, clearing and making your own decisions, rather than, killing yourself and just having negative entities do whatever they want to you. Right? So, not a good idea. Now let's talk about apathy. So with apathy, when I was 17, I graduated high school. Terrific. And gradually, when I was no longer in the dense negative depression field of high school, my depression gradually went away. Now, what's interesting, I remember when I was 17, when I was really suicidal, and it was like basically the suicidal thoughts being put in my head. I'm like, should I do my math homework or should I kill myself? Like that was the kind of thoughts. Should I work on my IT assignment or should I kill myself? I'm like, I'm going to work on my IT assignment. That's what I'm going to do, all right? As subconscious, we're doing that. Now, the subconscious, and I've learned a lot about that now, and I understand targeting there. But no, this was just negative entities acting. They convinced me they were my subconscious, pretty much. That's the energetic and mental program they put in my brain. But I remember waiting for the school bus to pick me up, and I remember thinking very strongly, I don't actually really want to go home. But I don't want to be at school either. And I thought, well, I don't really want to be anywhere. Now, what I should have done is I should have gone to the beach, because we lived like a 5-minute walk to the beach. And at the time, I had really sensitive skin. The beach hurt. But it would have been worth it because it would have cleared me up. But this information not being public, that, hey, if you're really being targeted energetically and you live near the beach in Australia, go to the beach a lot. Take up swimming. Take up surfing if you can afford a surfboard. And you might actually begin, because I just innately hated swimming. And I understand now that this was, my mind was led there for a reason. Go swimming, even if you hate it. You may not hate it 3 months from now when you've been doing it almost every day. It will help a lot. But instead I went, I don't want to be home and I don't want to be at school. I could kill myself and escape this. It's like, it's true, you could, but it's not a very good idea. Yeah, no one's asked this, and somebody should have. I'm disappointed. Yes, this video will clear suicidal energy. I'll just put that in the energy of it now. So, I graduated, and I gradually came out of depression, and I had no emotions. It was very interesting. I was apathetic. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. But I didn't feel happy or anything. I felt nothing. And after about 4 months of that, I went, this is nice. It's really quiet in my mind. It wasn't that quiet, but my emotions felt quiet. And, it was the most peace I'd had in 2.5 years. It was great. A main thing that really wore down my energy field, and I went on holiday with my dad to England for his mum's funeral. This was a terrible idea. I got tricked. When I was, and the entities will also talk through people. When I was 11, I was in a grade which shared its class with 11 and 12-year-olds. And I said in the class that, my dad wanted me to go to England with him, but I didn't. And because I didn't think I'd enjoy it. And one of the students, Tom, he was this child who was 12, but he was 6'4". This guy was huge. He said, England? But that's the other side of the world. You're crazy not to want to go. And I said, no, it's with my dad. I knew my dad quite well. I do not want to be alone with my dad. On at his mercy. No way. And but anyway, what Tom said, it stuck in my mind. And then when the opportunity arose when I was 15, I went with him. And that was not good. That was not a good trip at all. I didn't see much of England. I saw the inside of pubs. That was about it. A bad trip. And that caused... I won't go into it because I don't really feel I need to. But that caused quite a bit of trauma. And that was a major reason. Often there'll be a big trauma which can really grind down your emotional body and your energetic resistance and really let entities in. Tom, I know you're watching this random guy I haven't seen since I was 11. I blame you. I blame you entirely. This is your fault, Tom. But yeah, then I had apathy, and I went, this is nice. But after a while, I went, hang on, this probably isn't the best way to go through life, just being emotionless the entire time. So then I intuitively thought, well, I should just pretend to have emotions. And then I did. I was an actor in the theatre of life. I pretended like I had all the emotions, the entire emotional range. And after doing that for about 6 months, they gradually started to come back. And I started to begin to feel the beginnings of emotions. So if you have no emotions, you just pretend you have them and act it out. It does help that I'm a very good actor, and so that that's how I regrew them. I knew nothing about energy work, but I did it that way. Now, I've got much more emotional, better highs and lows now due to energy work, but if you've not energy trained, and you would need to train quite a bit in order to get strong enough to fix that. But honestly, not that much. After 2 months, you really begin to be able to make a difference on yourself doing it that way. Yeah, that's the best way to go about it, and you can do that. Now, I'll just have a look. Josh says hello from Perth. Hello, Josh. Does depression energy affect the cardiovascular system? It affects the entire body. See, there's something called the mind-body connection, and then you can go much further than that. There's the energy body-to-body connection. There's the soul-to-energy body connection. There's the soul-to physical body connection. There's a lot of connections. And yes, if these are in a bad state, it affects every single system. If you're depressed, your cardiovascular system's weaker, your nervous system's weaker, and negative energies can target much more easily, causing random nerve pain, which is negative energies kicking you in the nerves, usually. Or they've set up implants. But yes, everything significantly weakens. Your cardiovascular system suddenly much weaker. It's like you're breathing when you're weighed down by an extra 20 kilograms. Everything weakens. Vanessa asks a very good question. She says, does suicidal energy run in the family sometimes? Would the entities move on to the younger family members if someone targeted off themselves? Well, that would be very unfortunate. But yes. Often, and I saw this from my grandma, if somebody very targeted dies, a few of their major entities and quite a bit of the energy will go with their energy body and their soul to wherever they're going. But most of that energy stays on the physical body. And that energy on the physical body, quite a bit of it gets buried or cremated. But a lot of it will, especially if they've got target family members, and if they've been targeting the bloodline for generations, usually, they will leave and they will go, all right, into the next person. And it's whoever they so choose. It could be the mum, or if the mum's not that targeted, they'll target the grandchild or the great-grandchild. Yes, that is very common. And suicide energy, it's pretty common, especially if you're in the room when... No, this is more so if they die in the hospital. Hopefully you're not in the room when someone's killing themselves. You should probably prevent that. But if you are in the hospital with someone and they die, yes, that energy... can have a ripple effect on you. But yes, it is normal for their suicidal energy to enter you, and then because you've not had all the suicidal energy for years like they've had, and your energy resistance and traumas and things aren't worn down as much, it won't affect you, but yes, that will gradually start to seep into your psyche and your physical body. Trying to scroll up. My chat, even my chat's not being cooperative. There we go. Yeah, entities have a thing for hanging. They really like hanging. Drowning as well. Yeah, I would not hang myself. If I were to do anything, and I'm not going to do this, but the way I would do it is I'd just walk into the ocean and just drink a bunch of salt water. That would be a much more pleasant way to go than drowning. And you can change your mind at any point if you're in the ocean, right? I know how to swim. I'm a pretty good swimmer. By that I mean I'm a half-decent swimmer. I trust that I'm not going to die in the ocean. I'm not that strong a swimmer. But anyway, if I'm found in the ocean though, I was murdered. I did not do that. But in the past, when I was 17, if I were to, or not 17, so 18, 19, if I were to do it, I would have just walked into the ocean. I thought I was really depressed when I was 19. How significant is the cerebral spinal liquid? Oh, cerebral spinal liquor that is produced in brain caves and goes down the spine and back up in the brain caves. Ivan has asked this. He's a doctor. Ivan, tell me what that means, and I will look at the energy and I will tell you. I was recently taken to a spot by my brother in which a famous person committed suicide. Why? Why would you? No. You fail. That's an F. You don't go there. Because if somebody dies with intense negative energy, yeah, that affects the surroundings. And then you've just walked in there and you've just soaked in suicide energy. So, and even if you're really well shielded, just your energy inside of you, any negative energy, will react to the suicidal energy and feed off it. And that's very, very hard to prevent. Is Wim Hof great for depression? Yes, Wim Hof is very good because it moves your energy throughout your body, just like working out. And it does help energy clear. So yes, Wim Hof is great for depression. That is a good question. Can depression energy and addiction energy work together? Yeah, often depression energy will tie itself in with addiction energy, especially with alcohol or gambling. That is very common. How do you stop emotional soft spots from coming up if you've already grieved over them? When they come up, energetically attack them coming up. It'll often be a negative entity that's creating this vision that you're seeing. First you'll just attack the vision. As you get stronger, you'll be able to navigate to the entity behind it and clear him or her as well. Is feeling numb all the time the same thing as depression? No, that is apathy. That's what I just said. That is apathy. Which is basically, here's depression, right? Let's say this is like up above, it's a cloudy sky, there's clouds, and that's positive emotions, right? This is a good mental state. Then underneath that is this giant black ocean. And then when you go all the way to the bottom of the ocean, you fall out of the ocean and you just kind of fall through space forever, like you're in Spy Kids 2, you just fall. And you are now in apathy, and then you just feel numb. Will this video clear suicidal energy from your house? Yes. If you intend it to, yes. It will work on you first, because you're more important than your house, but then yes. A lot of people on keto and carnivore or low-carb diets say that depression energy lifts when doing that. Or is it just to do with that specific person's energy rather than diet? What it is if you basically improve your diet, or is particularly if you fast, your energetic resistance goes up. And then those negative thoughts, which were much more frequent because you had loaded your body with carbs and other things which your body had to really work on and digest, meaning your energy was going to that, were decreasing your energetic resistance. So that is why that has improved. Can you be depressed and not know it? No. Depression's in your face. Depression is a hammer on your head and a constant feeling of dread and sadness or anger. No, but it's not. Would it be wise to send this healing video to a group of people, such as an old age home, or is it better to direct it to individual persons? Depends how strong your computer is. And depends how many depressed people in the old age home. What I'll say is, with the chemicals, it will aim to balance them out, so it's not going to, cause problems. So you can direct it to a group of people if you so wish. Good. So I'll talk about this. We're going to jump forward. When I was 22, I'll talk about this in more detail in another video. But actually, should I talk about this now? I will talk about this now because I feel it's important and it does correlate to suicide. I decided, after I was gradually coming to apathy, that I would never kill myself, but if I died, I wouldn't, if I felt like I was going to die, I would just die. I wouldn't fight it that much. Now, a feeling of, if you've ever had a strong feeling of death, what it feels like is you feel incredibly calm and incredibly relaxed. And when I was 22, I had really bad health. My targeting was pretty much at its peak, and I was really unwell. I had a chronic headache all the time. And I remember feeling this peaceful death feeling. I went, this is death. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'll die. Other people may have thought this as well, but the thought in the past in my mind, am I the only person on this planet? Because I could look at others and, I even out of curiosity, I hadn't looked today, but I was thinking about this. I could look at others and I would see that they were NPCs. There were no souls. And even the people who had souls, like a child I went to school with, Isaac, who went and became a personal trainer, he had a soul. He had a blue soul. But as a child, it was not in his body. It was over here being basically sucked. It was out of his body. He was being run by negative energy. And it was being, fed off of. They can do that. They can keep it in your energy field and feed off it. So even he felt empty to me. So I'm walking around and all these children feel empty. The teachers feel empty. Teachers usually feel empty. Other than Kevin, who'll watch this, most teachers are pretty empty. That's why they're okay being teachers and, being part of the very odd system. So I'm thinking, am I the only person here who's not empty? Because everybody here, other than me, feels, not self-aware. Is there anything running these people? But I thought, no, it wouldn't make sense for there to be hundreds of thousands of ghosts, as a lowball estimate. If this was a single-player Matrix, it wouldn't make sense, because why would they put me in and then have all these ghosts? First of all, it's breaking my immersion with the game. I would be less questioning things if there weren't these ghosts everywhere. So that was the main reason why I thought, alright, well, there's got to be other souls in here, because it wouldn't make sense for there not to be. And anyway, I felt the strong feeling of death, and I went, alright, the pain was going away. The pain does go away when you're dying. You relax, the pain lifts, and you go, oh good, I'll die. And I lay down, and I went to sleep, expecting to die. but I didn't die. I woke up. But when I woke up, I had this odd, almost like white veil over my vision. And all the ghosts I'd seen through my entire life, they were just gone. And sometimes I'd wake up and they'd all be gone, and it was because something really strong had blown by and they all fled. But I didn't feel the trepidation which I feel when that happens. And I went, oh, they're not here. And then for about 5 weeks, I just had this white veil. And I remember 3 weeks into it, I went and saw the doctor for something, and I said, Doctor, by the way, I feel like I've been dead for 3 weeks. And he went, oh, that's very interesting. Like this Chinese doctor, he was a great guy. He goes, oh, that's very interesting. I have no idea. And see, that's the kind of doctor you want if you're targeted, because he won't send you to the insane asylum in the old castle, right? He will be like, I don't know, go home. I told him so many things which he'd never heard of before, and he'd go, oh, I've never heard of that before. I'll drink more water. And then I'd leave. He was a good doctor. But I told him that. And then I remember thinking quite strongly, I was thinking, hey, if somebody's here, I thought this might have been some kind of in-between where you die and they're like, here's the world, but not really, and you can kind of tell it's dreamlike. And then like some spirit guide or whoever would come and be like, all right, yeah, you died 5 weeks ago, actually. We're here to get you. But I was like, hey, I figured it out already. Can you come and get me? I know I'm dead. But after 5 weeks, that veil gradually lifted, and all the ghosts showed up, and I went, oh, I'm not dead. I don't know what that was. I was in some kind of weird twilight zone. I'm looking at the energy now, and what I'm seeing is, I'm seeing a white veil in my head, and I'm feeling twilighty, like I'm in some kind of weird, the matrix is a bit glitchy. Does feel in between death. I was thinking they might have just put a white veil in my head, but even that, my natural ability to see entities has been really good, and it's just gotten stronger as I've aged. And as I've aged, it's definitely gotten stronger, but even innately it was really good. I couldn't see through all cloaking, and a lot of things look like black static. But no, it looks like I was in some kind of weird state. Anyway, I'll look into it later. Anyway, so yeah, they gradually went away. All the ghosts came back, and I, wasn't dead. And I went, oh well, I guess I'll continue to live. And here we are. And then the next year, a friend sent me the basics of the waterfall technique, and I started energy training, and then I just kept training ever since. Ivan didn't come back to me. He's probably fallen asleep. Are there any major entity races that push emotional, mental targeting? Or, I mean, pretty much, this is common entity tactics. Ghosts do it. Voodoo does it. Aliens do it. Well, they're not as much. Demons really, really heavily do it. Angels heavily do it. I'll talk about this. One reason why... I've had a lot of clients, particularly lately, who I've been like, alright, and they'll be like, oh, should I work with angels? And I go, no, don't work with the angels. Who suggested this? And they go, oh, but the angels help us. And I could see things as a child, and as I got older, it got darker. When I was younger, it was just ghosts, and then as I got older, it was demons and werewolves and everything. And I'd go, yes, werewolf, demon, Promantis, bugmen. There were a lot of bugmen on the ceiling. Go downstairs and go to get a drink from the water cooler, and there'd be ghosts everywhere. I would walk downstairs, and I would walk over and check if my dad was in his chair. Because if he was there and you turn the light on, he'd go, why are you turning the light on? And he'd make a big deal about it. Or if he wasn't there and you looked, he'd go, what are you doing up? And he'd start mumbling like, weird demonic trance. What was he doing up? Why are you sitting on the couch at 3 a.m. trying to, in a crazy state? Anyway, so if he wasn't there, I'd then turn the light on, because if I didn't turn the light on, I would walk through and I'd have to walk around ghosts and be like, sorry, excuse me. I'd kick a hellhound, and it would move and look at me unhappily. So I was, evidently physically connecting with these things. One thing I remember, I used to, there was this giant see-through type blob, and if you walked through it, you felt so cold and slimy. It was like this giant slimy ball of ectoplasm with a few faces and limbs here and there. It wasn't very good at being a ghost, but it was huge. This thing had a lot of ghost energy. And I'd try and walk around it, and then I'd go to walk back, and I'd try to walk around it, and it'd be obstructing me, and anyway, that was every night for me. I'd come down, the ghosts were always just having parties downstairs all the time. You walk down, there'd be hundreds of them, and there'd be different ones each time. And energetically, they were different ghosts. It wasn't just them changing how they looked. These were different ghosts each time. another thing ghost targeting will do, it will really, they will physically manifest often a hand on your body and leave it there for the whole time you're asleep. And that will, over months, potentially years, really ruin your physical posture. And you'll have to really work and potentially see a physiotherapist to have your posture fixed. So that's really annoying too with ghost targeting. Very annoying. I remember one time, I think this was last year, early last year, I was sleeping and I felt this ghost hand on me, and I went, gotcha, and I grabbed it, and then a second hand grabbed me, and it spooked me, because usually they'll just manifest themselves as one hand, they'll put all their energy in there, but it made a second hand, and then I turned around and erased it. That's happened for me for quite a while. My house is really, really well fortified now. We're staying at a friend's house, and it's harder to fortify when someone else is living there. I'm also a lot stronger. It's been a year and a half. Is there a way to block depressed energy from people around us? Yeah, shielding, and also making the conscious mental decision, thought that their depression is not your energy, and yeah, it'll try and leech over. But as long as you know it's not your energy, it'll be very, very apparent. What if they're a close family member? You either if somebody doesn't want to change, if they're like just okay being depressed, it's difficult. If it's your partner, then that's a different situation, right? You'll tell your partner, hey, you're depressed. We're going to fix this because this is a problem for both you and I, right? Because that's what a partnership is. You'll try and fix it together. Play the video, start working out together, things like that. For our family member, it's going to be much more difficult, but you can make an effort. If I work very closely with someone whose father committed suicide, would that be a problem for me? It depends on how targeted you are, and basically, if you're working with that person and they're targeted, and they probably are if their husband committed suicide, that energy may not even try and target you because it's too busy targeting them. But if they're the kind of targeted person who walk around and just weaponize everyone else and they're just carrying, which I don't feel this person is, for you positive being, it's not, then I wouldn't worry about it. But if it's weaponized, then yes, you will need to be on guard against it. I'm not going to talk about mushrooms now, I'll talk about that in our drug video. Good, Steve's just recommending turmeric to people. I'll now say, why this video now? Well, as you may know this, and if this is in the future, you won't need to worry about it so much, but there is going to be a big, very nasty Luciferian eclipse in about a week. And this eclipse energy has been here already for about 6 days. And on Friday, and today is Tuesday, I started feeling quite depressed. I went, why do I suddenly feel like I'm 17 again? What? This is not me. I'm just sitting here pretty peacefully. This is being put on me. And it's got to be the eclipse, because what else is major that suddenly could affect me like this? And then I look, and the eclipse, it looks like this blue spiral energy. And it was in my brain. It was messing with my brain chemicals. And I went, all right, what are these brain chemicals? How do I fix this? So then I found out what they were, I've counted the eclipse energy, and I have cleared that. So that is why I'm doing this video now on a Tuesday night, because I felt it was important, because I could be like, I'll wait till the weekend and, potentially get more, like questions and other things which are helpful and, I'd say, improve the process. But I feel it's much more important to do this now, and that people on the weekend can just ask questions in the comments. And yes, I do plan to do a video for the eclipse. Now, you may say, alright, I'm watching this in year 2090. Okay, that's a bit too far. Let's say 2050. Is the eclipse? Do I need to watch the video for the eclipse? And the answer is, if you've not watched the video for the eclipse, then yes, because if you were alive at that time, or even pre-birth, then that eclipse energy will be majorly on you. So yes, unless it's cleared off you, it will be on you. So I will be doing that. But that is why I'm doing this now, because the eclipse energy right now, its major tactic is to give you depression. And that's why I went, oh yeah, I remember this. I should do a video for depression. I actually wanted to do this video when it was like my 10-year graduation from school, which was last year, but I didn't do that because I didn't feel it was the right time. Unlike America, Australians don't usually do celebrations, but surprisingly, my school did. They invited me, and it was like my grade and 2 grades above, which I didn't really talk to the grades above, so that was odd. But I guess it makes sense to do 3 years at once. I of course did not go because I don't live in Australia. If I was, maybe I don't use social media, so I'd be like, all right, who's still alive? Who's and who's actually still alive, who's just alive without their soul, and that's something else running them. Yeah, but I didn't do that. And they also sent this survey, and it said, what is your occupation? And how could we improve things? And I said, well, you could improve things by having a better guidance counsellor. If you'd recommended I get a computer science degree, that would have helped a lot. And it saved me time, because I would have done that in energy training on the side. That would have been a good job, but their guidance counsellor was pretty bad. But the whole school system, it's kind of set up for failure. It's by design. But I wrote occupation exorcist. And now you'd think this was a Lutheran school, would think, oh, wow, an exorcist. Great job. They should have been patting themselves on their back. We have an exorcist who went to our school. They didn't even reply to my survey I filled out. They should have sent me a congratulations email. I'm still waiting, Pacific Lutheran. Where's my congratulations on being an exorcist? Now, it's not like I've not shared these videos. I sent it to the school. No, I've not done that. But they should have been like, oh, well done. Because, other people have been like, I am what do people do? Retail worker. That's mainly they're retail workers. Maybe they're successful, but come on, they should have congratulated me. Anyway, does anybody have any more questions about depression? Otherwise, I'd say we can wrap this up. I've talked about depression. I've talked about sad thoughts. I've talked about blocked emotions. Stagnant brain syndrome. That's pretty much where your brain's energy gets targeted and it almost solidifies. On your energy body, your brain should have brain fluid running through it, and it should be a liquid and moving around. But negative entities will target it and solidify the brain fluid, especially Gorgon energy, which is Medusa energy, the Greek one. They do that a lot. And demonic energy does it really heavily too. And then parentists tend to do implants, which can cause it, but they're more interested in putting frequency noises. Stagnant brain syndrome, that's pretty much where your brain's energy gets targeted and it almost solidifies. On your energy body, your brain should have brain fluid running through it, and it should be a liquid and moving around. But negative entities will target it and solidify the brain fluid, especially Gorgon energy, which is Medusa energy, the Greek one. They do that a lot. And demonic energy does it really heavily too. And then parentists tend to do implants, which can cause it, but they're more interested in putting frequency noises in you. There's one other major one. Purgatory. Purgatory makes it skeletal, and your brain fluid becomes skeletal and solid. So this will help clear that up and get your brain fluid going, which will lead to significantly better brain activity. So much better. Which will also lead to better emotional activity, and it will lead to these brain chemicals much more easily moving through your brain and the rest of your body, as the brain fluid being stuck slows down the nervous system quite a lot in your brain. Good. Yes, I plan to do an Eclipse video, correct. No, I'm not. I don't think I'm a social media influencer. No, I'm an exorcist. Social media. I'm not influencing people. This is like a side thing I do on the side. No, the main thing is erasing negative entities, including negative energy. Killing demons. That's my job. I would say exorcist best describes me. Like modern exorcist, good exorcist. Yeah, because the Catholic exorcists, they will fight the demon and they will. They'll usually take it out of the child. I didn't hear it. I clicked on the chat a while ago and minimized my camera. Just taps them straight into it and then you that's how it's set up. I think so they usually end up taking on a lot of that demonic energy. It's possible. It will help the child. That's because most energies jump on the priest. And they'll often say that the priest after an exorcism was never the same again. We'll see. So this is real exorcisms where I'm not taking things on that would be very, very inefficient in the long term. Let's just check my camera. What do I recommend? Oh no! I hope that was not a long. Any other you feel will benefit you, because it will change somewhat depending where you are. Good. All right, everyone. You've been a wonderful audience. Have a good night.